Welcome to One Thought Growth. Today we are going to talk about the three main issues that I see that people come up against when they're trying to implement the first agreement in their life. We're going to talk about them, and I'm going to give you some really good solutions for how you can overcome them. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to One Thought Growth. Here at the channel, we synergize ancient wisdom with contemporary teachings. Please subscribe below. Okay, so in the last video, we talked about the first agreement, which is be impeccable with your word. And we talked about the power of words. We analyzed the etymology of impeccable, how it means not going against ourself. And we also discussed a little bit in the beginning how this agreement, according to Miguel Ruiz in the Toltec tradition, is the most important, but also the most difficult to apply. But I want to make it easy for you. So the first thing that I notice is that when people hear this, they often will begin to go into inner arguments with themselves. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, as I mentioned in the previous video, our words are really how the majority of us think. So when we're told to be impeccable with our word and thoughts come that we don't agree with, we immediately try to affirm new, right? But then also we can go into like this type of argumentation with ourselves where it's like we're having that kind of two parts of us speaking, and you have the one part that's like trying to win over the other part. And this approach can be really harmful and really exhausting energetically. So you don't want to argue with yourself. And I'm going to give you two things that you can do. The first one is, say a negative thought pattern's coming back, or a negative agreement that you have about yourself, such as, I'm not good enough to do this. Well, you affirm with yourself, I am good enough. Or you can be more strategic and say, I haven't done it yet, I might fail, but it's okay, life is full of failures. Or what I mean by that is that we're all going to fail if we try something. And then let it be. And then when the thoughts come, the old agreements, right, instead of combating it every single time, don't give them power. So this is all about the training of the mind. This is all about the practices, really, of mind training, is that thoughts have more power. Thoughts are neutral as well. The more power that we give the thought, the more it's going to have an impact on our being. So that's technique one. Affirm the new agreement. Affirm the new pattern. Right? Give yourself some self-love. Pepper yourself up. You deserve it. And then when the old agreement's still trying to push through, don't give it power. Just train yourself. Right? Daily training. That's why I encourage you to pick up some grounding practices, such as meditation or yoga or exercise, whatever you want to do. And just learn to not let it have power over you, because it's just a thought. It's not you. The second technique is, sometimes what I've realized with my own self and when I work with coaches and they've helped me with this and I help people with this, is that sometimes there's fear linked to it. And I've had a lot of experience with this. Sometimes there's a thought pattern that's coming through, an agreement that's coming through, and there's a really deep fear that we might have. Such as, no one's going to watch my work, no one's going to value what I do. So sometimes it's helpful to just acknowledge the fear. Like, I acknowledge that I'm fearful that no one's going to like my work, or no one's going to think my work is valuable. Then make the affirmation, and then continue. So then you're being true to yourself. It's like, look, okay, I'm scared. You know what I mean? Like when I started doing YouTube videos, my God, was I scared. Like, okay, I'm scared. I have fear, but I'm going to do it anyway. There you go, right? Because you want to be true with yourself. You don't want to lose your integrity. This isn't about being fake. Sometimes just calling out the fear for what it is, acknowledging it, but then moving forward with action, both mental and physical. And before you know it, the changes come and you've overcame that old agreement and it's in the past. The second one is, be mindful of how we speak about others and ourselves. And the test that I do for myself is, if I'm going to talk about someone else, for example, what I think of to myself is, if that person was right next to me listening to how I was speaking about them, what would they think? That's the test that I do, right? So if someone's doing something that I don't understand, that I don't agree with, instead of talking about them, right, I would say, I don't really understand why they're doing that. It confuses me and it saddens me. So if the person was next to me and they heard that, it's not even about them. It's about me. It confuses me why they're doing that. And I'd hope that they would share with me. Instead of saying, they're dumb, or what they're doing is wrong, I think that they should do this, right? All of this, again, is about expanding your own personal freedom. In order to expand your own personal freedom, you have to let everyone else have their own personal freedom too. Because again, the universe is reflective. It's literally a mirror. So the more that you embrace that, the more that other people are going to really just naturally, even subconsciously, do it towards you. And then also, be mindful about how you speak about yourself. Words that you use. I can't. I'm not good enough. I don't know what's going to, I don't think I can do this. There's a lot of different ways you can say that. I haven't trained enough yet. I'm scared because I haven't put a lot of time into this yet. That's much more grounded in what's actually going on than I can't, or I'm not good enough, or I've tried many times and I've failed, so I'm a little bit scared to do it again. That's super honest. That's super integral. There you go. Walk with integrity. So it's just be very aware about how you speak about yourself and what you share with others as well. Because again, then they're going to reflect what you hear. They reflect back, and it's all interacting. I love this last one, and it's probably like one of my favorite things to think about. One of my mottos, I could say. And that is, remember to remember. How often do we hear these things, we say, wow, that's amazing, that's really cool, I know the 4 agreements, okay. Anyways, back to my life. We have to remember, okay? We forget, we remember. We forget, we remember. We need to remind ourselves. That's why I have things around me that help me remember. So again, remember this. Don't forget this. Remember that this is an agreement. Actively remember it. Write it down. Think about it sometimes. Because the more that we remember, as all these teachers are telling us, energy goes where attention flows. If we don't remember it, we're not paying attention to it, and then we lose the power. So in order to be really, really self-empowered, we have to remember. Thanks so much for listening. Those are 3 tips that are going to help you really apply the first agreement to your life. Please like and subscribe below if you haven't done so already. Once again, my name is Zach Pontrello. This is a further exploration of the 4 agreements and the ancient esoteric tradition called the Toltec tradition. See you guys soon.